there's a great appetite, and I mean a very strong appetite, for background checks. And I think we can bring up background checks like we've never had before. I'll be convincing some people to do things that they don't want to do, and that means people in Congress.
President Trump offering some double talk on gun safety as he left Washington today. Trump is close to the NRA, and he's taken several actions, as we've been reporting, to reduce gun safety in office. But the pressure is building from those mourning in Ohio today.
Do something! Do something! Do something! Do something! Do something! Do something!
It's becoming a theme because that was the chant that Republican Ohio Governor Mike DeWine heard days ago, which got him acting.
Some chanted, do something. And they were absolutely right. Individuals could be subject to a safety protection order if they present an imminent risk of injury to themselves. Suicide, for example. Or they present that risk to another person. I'm asking the General Assembly to pass a law that requires background checks for all firearm sales in the state of Ohio.
Could the NRA's hold in the Republican Party be breaking a little bit? NRA-backed Congressman Mike Turner, a Republican who represents Dayton, Ohio, is now coming out for a ban on assault weapons, which he says unleash intolerable carnage. Protests erupting out of Mitch McConnell's office over blocking votes, and calls to vote on those gun control bills that Speaker Pelosi already moved through the House.
Come on, Mitch McConnell. I mean, where are your guts? Get your couillons, okay? Grab them and do something. Because the American people are fed up with you. We're fed up with you, Stonewall and everything. People are dying on the streets just a couple hours from your house. And you're sitting there and doing nothing.
I'm joined by Alicia Menendez, co-host of Amanpour and Company on PBS and contributing editor at Bustle. What shift, if any, do you see here?
I mean, it's a shift that in some regards we've seen before. So, for example, here in Florida, after the Parkland shooting, you had Governor Scott coming out and saying all options were on the table. He did end up with legislation that raised the age of purchase from 18 to 21. A 3-day limit, 3-day waiting period was instituted. You had a ban on the sale of bump stocks. What you didn't have was a limit on the availability of assault weapons. So if you look at DeWine's 17-point plan here, interestingly, it does include background checks, but similarly, no mention of assault weapons. You then look at what Turner's coming out and saying. He's saying he would vote for a ban on assault weapons, but then no mention of background checks. So in many ways, Ari, the devil is in the details in terms of what can actually get done. Also of interest that, DeWine has to persuade his Republican-led legislature to actually follow his lead here.
Yeah, and he's under a certain kind of pressure as governor that others may be able to duck if everyone sort of moves on locally or nationally. Here's a Republican in Nebraska weighing in. Take a look.
The NRA is weaker today, not because they're having this infighting at the board level, but because they're hemorrhaging members.
This country has become so polarized that people are reluctant to speak out. And I'm particularly disappointed in Republican office holders for allowing President Trump to say some of the hateful things that he's said. And I think it's time for them to stand up for a change and make it known that they don't condone that kind of hateful speech.
That's Republican John McCollister. Is the correlation here very, very grim, which is only certain Republicans in certain states where there are mass shootings that get mass media attention?
I think that's part of the equation. I think at the end of the day, you and I know that if you want to see action in the Senate on this, it comes down to Mitch McConnell and whether or not he wants to proceed with some of the votes that Democrats have asked for. I think what we're going to see is a fight brewing over whether or not these red flag laws are enough. Democrats are calling them a half measure, saying that they don't want to just pass legislation that focuses on that it lets Republicans off the hook on background background checks, and that seems like the fight that is brewing. And what we also know is that right now the country's attention is on this issue. This is the moment in which there is the greatest chance of legislative action. We've seen these moments come, we've seen them go. I think the real wild card here is President Trump. I mean, he has been inconsistent on this question. There is an argument to be made that he now holds more sway over his party than the NRA. If he were to be consistent on this, it could change the game.
Alicia Menendez, thank you. Hey, I'm Ari Melber from MSNBC. You can see more of our videos right here, or better yet, subscribe to our YouTube channel below. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with us, and we appreciate that.